Hi, aligned souls. Welcome to the Soul Revival podcast, where we have meaningful conversations to help you explore tools and healing methods that help you return to your soul self. Join us as we help you merge the ethereal and the material worlds, allowing you to live your most fulfilling and aligned life. I'm Lindsay Stanton, author, somatic practitioner, intuitive Reiki master, and grief coach.
Hello, I am Autumn, a believer in miracles, intuitive guide, and psychic medium. We're your hosts and guides. We don't just talk healing, we live it. This is where soul meets strategy, spirit meets structure, and our highest selves take the mic.
Welcome back to another episode of the Soul Revival podcast.
Today's episode is all about consumption, and consumption is such an expansive topic because it's more than just like the food and energy that we take in. It's literally everything, Lindsay, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So I'm really excited to dive into this topic today.
Me too, me too. And I know you and I are very much on the same page as to what we let into our fields. And we're both very intentional about what we let into our fields and also like the way that we frame what we let into our fields and what we attach to from that perspective as well. So I think this topic has a lot of kind of side roads, if you will, that I'm sure will probably be touched on in other episodes. But I think you and I are both fundamentally very, and I think honestly, we all should be, whether you're spiritual or not, but like very intentional and careful about what we allow in our worlds. And for us, like the common denominator, and this is science and spirituality, but everything is all energy. And what energy are you letting yourself absorb, whether you're cognizant of it or not?
And I think that's our mission with this is to bring awareness because maybe some people out there listening they don't know. And I think that consuming with intentions is so important because we're human. We're going to be, out in the world, grocery shopping, scrolling, seeing things, and you have a choice if you want to sit there and attach to that energy or just let it flow by. And I think that that's the important piece is to have boundaries around what you consume and what you digest and in all areas, food, social media, podcasts, books. There's so much in it. It's either you're going to feel expansive energy around it or restricted energy around it.
Exactly. And I like the way that you just framed that, in that like we can control so much, or we can mitigate so much of what we're going to absorb, but there are going to be elements, just being human, of things that we're exposed to or around to. It might even be your own family, it might be friends, that you don't want to entangle with. And knowing that even if you have those experiences or around those energies, there's things that you can do. And actually, it ties back to the two episodes we just had on somatics. There are things that you can do to release that energy from your bodies. And obviously, that's a core part of what you and I do as healers, and releasing energy that might be stored in somebody's chakras. So, all of this, as all of the topics that we talk about on this podcast, all of this ties together and it's all connected.
Yeah, one thing that I wrote down and I'm reading because I love what I wrote here is what we take in shapes who we become. So what you allow your energy to consume and attach to is ultimately who you become. And I don't know who said this, but I do know they emphasize it in science. The five people you hang around most is most likely the reflection of who you are as a person as well. And I love that saying because it rings true to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to give an example. I know you and I are both on the same page with this. I am really, really intentional about what I watch, what I consume, what I listen to. So for me, I'm not a big TV watcher to begin with. I'd much rather be learning something. That's just how I am. Like I'd rather be listening to like an educational audible, or taking a class that's going to expand me if I'm consuming content. But I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'll watch a Netflix, series, or binge on, like, I mean, I'm not really a big binger, but I will watch a series, or get into like whatever the hot thing is. But what I won't do, and this is something I would say I was never drawn to this to begin with, but it's something that's like a total rule with me now. I will not watch movies or TV that have like that the whole focal point is like violence or something negative or horror or something that's like yeah, that's I guess highly violent oriented. Like if it's here or there in a series, like I get it, that's real life, things happen, but I'm really careful about that. I will not I really don't listen to the news, so I'll catch my news updates like on my phone and know enough to be informed, but I'm not gonna be having like the news on all night long or listening to, AM radio and hearing the news all the time. I just feel like so much of the content that we are exposed to and surrounded by is in an effort to keep us in like kind of the status quo and a closed mindset. And when we're intentional about what we consume and consuming things that align with our soul instead of our humanness. And I feel like so much of the news aligns with our humanness, not our soul. And by that, I mean fear-based versus love-based mentality. I mean, so much of what we see and what, society tries and, those in charge try to inundate us with is fear-mongering, really. And so I just don't attach to that at all.
And to sum that up, television is tell a vision, and we are co-creators of our reality. So if we're all watching the news and collective consciously it's in our mind, we are co-creating that vision as a collective consciousness to make it come about. Mind you, things do happen, and I'm not saying that we co-create all of this horrible things, but television is television. So not to restrict yourself, but to be aware of how it's making you feel, how you're feeling after you're watching it. Are you completely drained after watching certain things? Energy is meant to fill you up. So when you're watching or listening to, intelligent podcast or anything that it actually aligns with your soul, you will feel good after listening, watching it. And that's the stuff that your soul's like, let's bring this in. Let's keep watching more of this. Instead of maybe the news or different series you're watching. And I used to, before my spiritual journey, I would binge watch shows all the time because it kind of kept me distracted.
Yeah, and that's the
It,
point to numb us.
yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And now I'm like, I would rather not have the TV in my room. I don't need it. I would rather listen to Hertz on YouTube or, a meditation before bed because I know that that fuels first of all, it fuels my dreams. It makes my dreams more vivid, but also it fuels my soul a lot more than watching something before bed.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps clear your chakras from what you've just naturally absorbed. And I think that's really the thing. And it goes back to what you said early on is you there's elements of what you consume that you have control over, that you can not allow in, that you can create boundaries around, and then there's things that we're just exposed to every day no matter what. It's just part of our humanness. So if you can mitigate your exposure by being intentional on the things that you're choosing to consume versus and then having tools to release attachment to the things that you've been exposed to that are just part of being human. I think that that's really what it's about. And I'll give an example. It's kind of funny. I had somebody over here doing some therapy with one of my pups, and she was asking me, "Oh, did you wa have you did you watch this movie or that movie?" And they were things I didn't know the title of at all. And she was like, "Oh, they're horror movies," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't, I don't entangle with that." And she said, like, "Oh, you're like I shouldn't either," you know. So I mean, it's you like, and it goes to your point. I mean, you feel a certain way after you're exposed to those things, and it's not high vibrational. So it's not that you're never going to be exposed to things that you don't want to be exposed to. It's just about having the awareness of what they create and then making those choices of when you're going to put yourself in those situations and when you're going to avoid it, because it does impact us. And I know another important topic besides just like TV and obviously podcasts too. I mean, I really try, and I think this is just with growth and expansion in general. I really try to, most of the content that I listen to or consume is actually educational, or, I mean, because there's not enough hours in this lifetime to on this journey of, where we do associate with time, even though time is a human construct. There's not enough time for me to learn all the things that I want to learn in this physical body. So why am I going to waste it consuming something that isn't aligned with the energy I want to call in?
Exactly. 1000%. I totally agree with that. Um, I have some tools that I use personally, like when I'm going to the store or things like that, that just keep coming to mind. So, one way that, if I'm going to the store, I'm constantly transmuting energy. So I'm constantly feeling, and I have learned that you can literally shield yourself before you go to the store. But I take one more step in my mind, always just imagines, like a circuit breaker, like for a house.
Yeah.
I imagine a circuit breaker and I literally turn off every single one of my chakras, like in my mind's eye, before I go somewhere or do something that is not energetically aligned. But, I'm a mom and I'm human and I just have to sometimes toughen up. So I will literally turn those circuits off and
I love that.
showcase, and it helps so incredibly much because it's like that physical sense of okay, everything is off. I'm not feeling anything, and it really does help my mind become aligned with my soul self. I also wrote down some examples of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual ways that we can consume energy. I felt called to do that as well.
Before you go into that, I just want to piggyback something on the chakras, and then then you
No,
can go ahead.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
saying that made me think of, so I just want to point out that if you are empathic and intuitive, and chances are high, if you're listening to this podcast, you are, that you are absorbing more energy than your average bear, if you want to say it that way. You're consuming more energy than your average person just out the gate. So that's why it's even more important to do these things that we're suggesting today. And I'll give a quick example. So for those of you who know me, I also tap in heavily to other species and do animal communication. And I have found the more I've dove into that work, the more it really bothers me when I see anything related to any harm or violence related to animals. And so I immediately felt like what you were just saying with the chakra shutting down, because I get really, really upset just driving if I see an animal that's been hit. So just like recognizing that when we are more tapped in, tuned into this energy, we're going to be more sensitive. We're going to feel it deeper and it's going to bother us more. And I think it's really important to note that's not a weakness, that is a strength. We're here for a reason right now, and we feel these things deeply because we're meant to make the shift, to create the shift, to be the change makers, to be the pathway to a higher, more elevated consciousness. So I'm sorry, Autumn, to interrupt your train of thought, but I just had to say that because I feel all the things, and I know you do too.
Exactly, exactly. And it's not meant feeling all the things is a gift. It is a superpower and it's not meant to keep you behind closed doors and closed walls and inside. It's just bringing awareness around, okay, I have the strength and the free will to go out and explore the world just like everyone else. I just need to know when to shut my energy off because I feel like a lot of healers they would just rather be like stay inside, stay in their safe place. But their energy is meant to be explored. It's meant to be in the frequency of the earth and it's meant to transmute.
And we're
But I think
given these
that
gifts to share.
yes, exactly. So for anyone wondering, where am I consuming energy physically? It's in your food, your drinks, your medicine. Medicine is, I'm not a, I believe in medicine. I think that it helps a lot of people, but sometimes I think that medicine is given in an abundance. And I think that really just
Well, and
being
we're also
intentional.
taught as a culture like to, take, I mean, like you could count on two hands the number of times on my entire life that I've been on antibiotics. And I think that's something that we like hugely overconsume as a culture.
Yes, absolutely. Our bodies will heal themselves, and antibiotics is just given so quickly, even if it's not even prescribed correctly. And I totally agree because it wipes out the
Your
everything
natural
in your
immunity.
gut.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
We're
yep,
not
yep.
doctors and we're like
No.
not telling you not to go to the doctor or not to get medication, but like again, this is like listening to your body and listening to what resonates with you versus just like being numbed out and saying yes to whoever's quote unquote authority.
Yes, and that's the whole thing too. There's been so many times that doctors prescribe me medicine and I sit with my stomach or like my gut feeling like, is this helping me? No. Is there a better route? Yes. But sometimes I'm like, is this helping me? Yes. So listen to that body, listen to that intuition. Another physical is the food. Is it giving you that life force energy? Do you feel good after eating the food that you're consuming?
We have an exciting opportunity to share with you.
Did you know inside the Soul Revival community, we have a giveaway? One lovely soul is gifted something sacred, a Reiki session, an intuitive reading, a powerful course, or even access into the community itself. This isn't just a giveaway, it's a soul blessing, a moment where healing meets divine timing. You'll feel the shift, you'll see the signs, and you'll know you're not alone anymore. Say yes to your intuition, your healing, your next chapter. Enter now at the link below in the show notes labeled Soul Revival Giveaway for your chance to win.
Let's get back to today's episode.
Because a lot of us are living off fried fruit food or frozen food. And if we just make that switch in the morning, eat some fruit, eat some live enzymes, you will start to feel that life force energy flowing through you. Um, so I think that that was important to talk about physical. Mental obviously is media. We talked about news, scrolling, doom scrolling. Sometimes we see things on our phones that we don't want to see, and then we're so caught deep in it. And it's like after you watch the whole thing, it's like, man, why like that did not make me feel good. Why did I watch that? And then next thing you know, because you watched it, it's everywhere on your algorithm. So really, really, really paying attention to if you don't like it, scroll as fast as you can because it will come back in full force in every other video.
I think especially those of us who identify as female, like even more so, like there's the whole body image thing and going down that whole rabbit hole and so much of it's fake anyways, but yet we like feel like we need to look that certain way. So I feel like it just gets even more exacerbated, and that's not what we're here for.
And to note on this, AI is incredible, right? AI videos, you cannot tell the difference between a actual truth video and an AI generated video. So really sitting with it and feeling, how could this happen? Like, is this truth? It's probably not truth. It's probably AI generated and it's not truth. So scroll past it or even like hit the X and don't show any more videos like this because there's been so many times those are the videos that make me the most angry sometimes like and I just want to voice that AI is great at making videos look so real and authentic, and it's not. And then obviously books and podcasts like we had talked about. And I'm excited to get into the emotional. So emotional can be conversations that you have one-on-one with people, relationships, gossip, negativity. I really feel that conversations need to light the soul. If you're just sitting there like, when is this gonna end? Is this over yet? Try to find an excuse to get out of there as quick as you can,
Yeah,
because
and
that
it goes to like being intentional about the friend groups that you have. I mean, I know we've talked like this is the case with grief, but it's also just the case with spiritual expansion as well. Your friendships will shift, and the people that are like closest in your community will shift, and that's okay.
yeah, that's actually like an achievement. You're leveling up. That's an achievement. Be grateful for that. I know
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard, but it's such an a way to consciously be aware, okay, I'm leveling up. This is okay. And then my next favorite topic is environmental. So the space. How is your house? Is
Yes,
your house cluttered? Is your house open and expansive? I think it's like feng shui. Do you have that type of energy in your house where it feels like comfortable and safe and spacious? Or do you have like clutter here and clutter there? Because
that's
really creating
actually
that out.
something that's something I've actually worked on with a lot of my grief clients is just even if it's just one starting one space because you're so numb in grief that like things tend to get out of hand and clutter happens and because you just can't even keep up with anything. But I always have them like work and create one space that's a beautiful area, a nice, clean, clutter-free area because it changes your mental state so significantly.
And even after you're done cleaning that cluttered area, you're like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, I
Yeah, it
did it.
feels so
First of
good.
all, I feel good. Like
I I
that
was
is
just
so
talking to my
important.
friend this morning about like how good a great purge feels. And I know you just went through it, but like moving forces you to purge and it feels so good to purge. And we need
Oh my
that. Like it's
goodness.
the natural cycle of things. We have
Exactly.
to purge to make space.
And now I'm getting on another like little tangent because when we hold on to things, it's actually holding on to the energy of that timeline. So even if you touch something from the past, it instantly brings your emotion and your awareness back to that time. And maybe people have healed from that time and they don't want to visit it. And then all of a sudden you're back on this roller coaster of emotions because something from your past doesn't need to be in your energy field
Yeah.
anymore. You've
Yeah.
grown up, like grown past that timeline. Um, and lighting is also so important in your house. Like the like natural lighting is super good for your mental mind and then the sounds. I mean, we were just talking about this the other day. Like people are so against cicadas. Like, oh, it's the year of cicadas. Cicadas are back. But cicadas emit the heart frequency out into the universe. I mean, I don't know if everyone knows what cicadas are, but they're these loud creatures that just buzz nonstop. But the energy they're giving out is love for the universe. So it's actually just a beautiful, beautiful sound when you shift that perspective and anchor into that noise as a heart healing frequency. It really helps change that perspective. So environmental is very important for consumption.
Absolutely. And I'm going to mention something on the food consumption piece that if it's not for you, you can, fast forward through this part. But, and I know you and I probably differ on this, Autumn, but so I was raised vegetarian. My mom is vegetarian. She's actually vegan now. But for me, the energy that I consume is important too. So obviously, I have like huge reverence for animals in general, but for me personally, like consuming more fruits and vegetables, and I don't eat meat. I just don't. It doesn't resonate with me to eat like the flesh of other beings. But and I feel like I probably maybe I don't know 3 years ago or so. I've always been relatively healthy eater with the exception of I do love my sweets, but I eat a lot of fruit and a lot of fruit, especially fruits and vegetables, but a lot of fruit, and I think that fruit really holds a lot of high vibrational energy and is like very cleansing, clearing, and taps us into um, less density, more of a light, airy type of a vibration. And I know we've got a couple episodes coming up on frequencies, which are going to be really important and actually tie into the consumption piece as well. But I say that because I'm really intentional about what I consume from an eating perspective to not feel too weighed down. The other thing I wanted to mention on this topic is I also don't eat too close to bedtime because I have noticed that if you are digesting food close to the time you sleep, I mean, there's all kinds of science behind like it interrupting your sleep and things, but because it interrupts your sleep and also I think because you're kind of in this denser energy, I noticed I was less likely to have a dream visit if I had consumed like a large meal or consumed like a snack or something right before bed. So I cut off, like I don't consume anything. I go to bed early, but I don't consume anything past 8 o'clock because I don't want my body like focused on digesting when I'm sleeping. The other thing I was going to mention that relates to your recommendations is with the devices. I try to stay off my phone, much past 8:30, for that very same reason. I don't want that energy cluttering me as I transition, because all of my dreams are, I have lucid dreams constantly, and I'm very tapped into the other side. And so I want to open and make space for that.
I have to piggyback off of this really quick with your devices. Don't have your Wi-Fi router in the room that you sleep in. Don't have it under your bed. Don't have it anywhere near you. And if you can put your phone on airplane mode when you go to bed, put it on airplane mode or put it in like one of those protective covers. I
I just
am a
have mine
firm
go
believer.
automatically on do not disturb. It's set to go on do not disturb by 9 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah, because the waves of the constant connection with the devices is so strong energetically. People aren't aware of it, but I had that huge download come in like 2 years ago, and I turn off all my computers. I wish that I could turn the Wi-Fi just completely off, but my fiance is not on board with that, so we find balance. So we put our phone on airplane mode, and there's just so much that goes into that as well. But I do want to say I admire you for being a vegetarian. I wish I had that discipline. I could find it in me, but right now is not the time, because the divine has shown me like the way that, I mean, this is a whole thing and it makes me so sad, but it's not the way that it used to be with meat. And the reason that people get flushed after eating meat or feel angry after being eating meat or not feeling like they used to after eating meat is because of the way the animals are handled during that process. I mean, energy, emotions is energy,
Yes.
energy and flow.
Yes.
So if and I don't want to get into descriptions of it, but you kind of get the
Yes.
storyline of this.
Yeah.
Um, when you consume that energy, you feel the emotions, and
Exactly.
it's not fun anymore. And people are looking for more farm raised things and things like that. But I definitely admire you for being a vegetarian, because I just it's so hard when you grow up on something to let something go,
Yeah.
and it's something that I plan to do in my future one day. But it's just it's very hard to release something like that. So it's just that belief in that energy of holding on to it so tightly. But be sure to check out the show notes below to see if you're the winner of our giveaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I would say just in addition to that, I think chemicals too. So I really shifting to eating clean. I used to pay attention to calories, the calories I was consuming, and now I don't pay attention to calories at all. I only pay attention to ingredients, and I'm so intentional about the ingredients and the things that I consume. And maybe this is like a good endpoint, but just for a resource, the Food Babe on Instagram. If you're curious about eating clean and you want to be more intentional about what you're consuming, she like debunks all the things, and she is known for, she is like a restaurant and food producer's worst nightmare if they're not like using good ingredients. And it's so interesting because many people know this, but in Europe, they have way, way more strict of standards, and it's easy to eat clean there because they don't allow the things into the food that we do here in the United States. And so that has been huge for me and because inherently then you end up eating more like plant-based diet, because that's like those end up being the main ingredients behind the cleaner food.
I'm excited to look that up. Food Babe. I'm going to also link it below in the show notes so you guys
Yeah,
have easy
definitely.
access to
She's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Ugh, well, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but I'm sure we'll have more episodes around it. So I'm going to leave it off with a question. What are you consuming daily that nourishes you? So just write it down or just make awareness around it and invite that in more.
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today, and we will see you soon.
Bye. If today's words stirred something in you, that's no coincidence. Your soul is speaking and it's ready to be heard. If you resonated with today's episode, Spirit is cheering you on, encouraging you. Start choosing yourself again. Start saying yes to your healing and join our sacred community over at www.thesoulrevival.com.
Because healing is better when we do it together. If you love this episode, be sure to hit follow, leave a review, and share this with someone who's ready to return to their soul self. Thank you, Aligned Souls.